everybody, welcome to my kitchen. It's a rare snowy day here in North Carolina, and so I decided this was the perfect time for me to get into the kitchen and do some baking. I have pulled back out my Hershey's Fabulous Desserts cookbook, and today I'm going to make their filled rich chocolate cupcakes. They're a different kind of cupcake because you don't have to ice them. They have a filling that we're going to make first, and it goes in the middle. The cupcake bakes around it, and they are absolutely decadent. So give me just a second. We're going to get everything together, and I'll show you how to make them. Okay, y'all, this is normally where I put a picture of all the different ingredients. I'm not going to do that today because there's just too many different little bowls. However, I will include the recipe down in the description below, so you can go there and get exact amounts. So you can make these yourself. The first thing we're going to make is the filling. It needs to be made first. I have an 8-ounce block of cream cheese, and it is softened. I have had it out so I can use a fork and not have to use my mixer. To that, we're going to add 1/3 cup of sugar, about 1/8 teaspoon of salt. I don't like a lot of salt, so I'm just kind of guessing and putting a little bit of that in there. And 1 egg at room temperature. This is also something good right now because eggs are expensive, and this recipe only calls for 1. So that's an added little bonus. Let me rinse my hands, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. We have one more ingredient to add to our filling. 1 cup of mini semi-sweet chocolate chips. That's going to go in, and we're going to stir this up. And if your cream cheese is good and soft, this goes together very easily. It doesn't even take a lot of elbow grease. Okay, we're going to set that aside and put our cupcakes together. Okay, you're going to need a large mixing bowl for this, and you want to use a glass bowl or a plastic bowl. Do not use a metal bowl to put these cupcakes together. This recipe has vinegar and baking soda both, and that does not go well with a metal bowl. You also want to be sure that you line your muffin pan with paper liners because you don't want to bake it in a metal pan either. They will not taste good. This is a good time to preheat the oven to 350 degrees so that it's ready when these are ready. And go ahead and line your pan. This recipe makes about 30 cupcakes, so you're going to need to be sure you have at least 30 liners. All right, with that out of the way, let's get to baking. First, you're going to need 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and I have already measured and sifted my flour. So I am very carefully going to add that to my bowl. The next thing you're going to add is 2 cups of white granulated sugar. So we're going to add that in. And then it calls for 2/3 cup of Hershey's Cocoa. And I have not measured that out yet. That's the one thing I didn't measure out. One. 2/3. Sorry about that. It also calls for 2 tablespoons of baking soda and a teaspoon of salt. And I've already measured that out, and I have that in here. And we are going to mix the dry ingredients together first. So give me a second to grab a whisk, and I'll be right back. All right, I got my whisk. I'm going to whisk these dry ingredients together before we add the wet ingredients. Just so they can all be well incorporated and blended well. You want to try to get all the lumps out if there's any lumps left in there. All right, I'm going to kind of make a well in the middle so we can add our wet ingredients. So the first thing we're going to add is 2/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. And then you're going to add 2 tablespoons of white vinegar. I couldn't remember. How much water? 2 cups of water. We're going to add that in next. Okay, if you have a mixer and you like to use your mixer, you are more than welcome to get it out. I do not like to use my mixer, so I'm just going to continue to very carefully whisk this together and mix it by hand. And you don't need to watch me do all that because it's going to take a couple minutes. So I'll be back in just a second once I have it all mixed together. Be right back. Okay, I have everything mixed together. And the only thing left to add is 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I'm actually going to measure that today. I don't normally measure my vanilla. 2 teaspoons. So we're going to stir that in. These are a very rich cupcake, thus the name. And they smell absolutely delicious. All right, now all that's left to do is fill up the muffin tin. Give me just a second to grab it. I have my muffin tin. Each one is lined with a paper liner. And the recipe says to fill each well 2/3 of the way full with the batter. So let's do that. I've got my 1/3 cup measuring cup, and that should be about right for each one. We'll see. All right, I have each one filled 2/3 of the way full. That 1/3 cup, if you fill it up, is really just about the right size, the right amount to fill these up. I got tongue tied. The next thing we're going to do is drop 1 tablespoon of the filling in the center of each of these cupcakes. So you want 1 good level teaspoon or tablespoon and put it right in the middle of each one. All right, we're gonna bake these at 350 degrees, and it says to bake them for 20 to 25 minutes. So I'll set my timer for 20 minutes and I'll check them and see you in just a few minutes. Okay, my first 12 are out of the oven. I have them on a rack cooling, and I'll show you what they look like in just a second. I have filled the pan for a second time, and I got a little happy with the filling on the first 12, and I had barely enough to fill these 12. So I will have enough batter for 30 cupcakes, but not enough filling for 30 cupcakes. So when you make yours, you want to fill your tablespoon just level, not heaping like I did mine. So let me get these in, and we're going to bake them. Those baked for 20 minutes, and that was just enough. The recipe says 20 to 25 minutes. Everybody's oven is different. 20 minutes was perfect for mine. So I'm going to put these in. I'll set the timer for 20 minutes, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, my second dozen are done. They also baked for exactly 20 minutes. I took the remaining batter and I just baked it in a small little square Pyrex. I didn't want to waste it, so I can either use it for cake pops or we can just eat it plain. But these are the cupcakes, and I have waited long enough. It is time for the taste test. Very rich and absolutely delicious. Okay, you might want to have a glass of milk or something to drink handy when you take a bite of your cupcake. They are very rich and very decadent. If you love chocolate, these are for you. And then the bit of cream cheese in the middle just takes them over the top. Let me know if you try them. I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And let me know if you have this cookbook and if there's something that you would like to see me to bake out of here. I'd love to do it for my next video. I hope I see you next time. And remember, if I can do this, you can do it.